How's it going, everybody? My name is Jack, and in today's video we're going to be doing a product review. And this is going to be a specific product review based on kind of what I've been using it for both in the airplane and outside in everyday life. And it's definitely changed the game and how I view things and how I do stuff in the airplane, as well as just the way I go about living my life with, having a nice and easy tool to use both in the airplane with my iPad, with my avionics, as well as just being able to see all of my stats regarding sleep, stress, and my health on my wrist. So let's get into the video. I'm Jack, a commercial pilot and CFI. Flying has always been a passion of mine, and I love being able to share that experience as a pilot and instructor for those who are curious about soaring through the sky. I hope you enjoy today's video, that you fasten your seatbelt, and that you enjoy the ride. So this is going to be an in-depth review on the D2 Mach 1 Pro. And if you're okay with, looking at the product in its entirety, not just, hey, quick review, 5 minutes is what it is. If you're genuinely curious about wanting to buy this watch, I highly encourage you watch this video. I had months to use this watch and understand it in its entirety, and I have a lot of positive feedback as well as a lot of negative feedback based on why you'd want to spend the money to buy this watch. So if that's you and you're looking to buy this watch and looking on where I could get it or how I could get it in my hands on my wrist, then I highly encourage you watch this video, because this is a very informative topic on why you should and why you shouldn't get this watch. So I hope you enjoy. This is called the Garmin D2 Mach 1 Pro, as what it looks like here. My light's kind of confusing with the way that the glare is looking at it, but we'll just jump right in. So hope you enjoy, and we'll get started. The first thing to know with Garmin is this box is huge. It is insane. For the price of this watch, you absolutely have to make it golden, because this thing I simply cannot comprehend to you how big this thing is. We have the case itself, right? Everything's already out. We have the manuals at the bottom here. We have like a little holster for like the charging cables and such. We have the base plate for the watch itself whenever you want to grab it. And then finally, you have the actual watch band area where this thing is resting. And I already said earlier, there's two bands that come with this. There's a rubber band, and then there's the metallic Garmin signature band right here. You can kind of see I chose the rubber band because this watch is made not only just for pilots, but for anyone who wants to fly and just has an idea of wanting to do more than just the normal things. So yeah, box tree itself, thing's pretty big. It's no ordinary thing. Both my hands, you can kind of see in comparison to the mic. Thing's chunky, and it's very important for its chunky with the way that you're getting the price for this watch. So that's ultimately why they made it that way. But now we'll get on to the reason why the box is chunky itself, with the actual product in question, the watch. As you can see right here, this is what the watch looks like when you just get it out of the box. It's got this normal face. It's kind of hard to tell with the camera angle, but you have basically just a normal three-dimensional figure. You have your time, both in Zulu and in the normal. You also have a hand clock here. This is the temperature. Then this is the airport you select. For me, it's KBGR, because that's where I'm at. And then finally, you have the wind direction for whichever runway is closest to it. In this case, it's going to be winds calm, because that's what it is for tonight. But after using this for a month, I can kind of say that I have a pretty decent idea of how this watch works and what you can see and do with it. Most product reviews I've seen online, they're just kind of yeah, this is what you can do with this feature, this is what you can do with that feature. I'm not really going to get into the basics of how to use the watch. I'm more or less going to talk about the perks, as well as the minuses if you actually want to get this watch, because most people are oh yeah, this watch is great, you can do this, you can do that, but no one really talks about the actual reliability, and then also the overall sustainability of do I actually want to purchase this watch. Because if you're looking and watching this video right now, the price is kind of crazy, so you kind of are I don't know if I want this. And so what we're gonna do first is we're gonna start with the perks, right? We'll start with just why this watch is great in general. Okay, first reason why I like this watch is it's not just an aviation watch. It is a smartwatch too, right? The reason why I say that is because I will get into the negatives later, but it has all the same features as you would normally think for a smartwatch. So I will show you kind of on the basics here. You can see we have the normal Garmin thing. We have the fly, we have map, we have anything else you want to add. I have golf on here, skiing, you name it, just all the physical activities you can still use. And that's pretty much an important factor if you want to watch in general, right? If you're very active, very healthy, you just want to do a lot of things other than just flying with it, it's kind of why you get a smartwatch, right? If you have an Apple Watch, you want to listen to music as well and kind of control it from your phone. This watch, you can do that too. And it's really great as far as just being able to just kind of have it as a tracker to help you out with stuff. Another cool thing that I like about this watch is you can easily just access basic things. So if you swipe up, you can kind of see there's a bunch of little tabs in here too. And I'll kind of show you. You have like your heart monitor here. You have all the steps. You have like heart monitoring, oxygen. It just keeps going down. You also have sleep score. So it monitors your sleep in your nighttime, which is amazing. I've really utilized this tool, but overall it still gives you a lot of different things with your smartwatch things. That's the first point, is that it's still a smartwatch. Second point, it's a built-in GPS. That's literally the only other thing that I can say that's positive about this, is this within itself is a smartphone. You can do whatever you want with this regardless of what you want, and it will operate on its own thing. And what I mean by that is you literally have these options here where if I just basically held the top button here, it's going to show you a bunch of different things like sleep mode. It'll give you red shift, so you can like basically go from like all red there at night, which is kind of cool. But what also you can do with this watch is if I were to hold this button down, I can search for any airport in the area, go to nearest airports. I can go to whichever one I want. And what it will do is it will give me an exact map ratio to where I'm at. My watch is too bright, so where my webcam won't work, but you can literally see from the screen here, like swiping through, where you're at on the map and where you can go. I'm currently in the middle of America right now with my map, but I can go all the way over like it's Google Maps and basically use it like it's ForeFlight or like Garmin Pilot. It's the exact same thing except on your watch face, which is really cool. I had to use it once in a night flight just because I lost my GPS with my ForeFlight, so I just didn't know where I was going to go. Literally clicked direct to, and then boom, that's where it was. And that was honestly probably a lifesaver because on my wrist, could see where I was going, boom, put it in my plane, I'm set. Yeah, that's really the other thing, is just it's a personal GPS. Oh, with that too, you can actually go in and you can select the flight mode. And when you click record, it'll actually record like all of your data for when you're flying. And if my compass will let me, you can see, right, if I turn different directions, the compass will want to turn different directions. So it gives you references to where you are magnetically. It gives you references to your nearest airport. It gives you same thing, the GPS if you want to use it. You can also use it as a timer, as an oxygen monitoring thing. And overall too, you can help it to navigate back to your airport. So you can literally type in the airport code on there and it will just know exactly where to go. And that's what this watch does. The only other cool thing I will say about this watch, when you hit the top left, you can click a button that says Find My iPhone. So you click it, and then this is what it'll display. So essentially, it's like Find My iPhone, but for anything. And that's probably one of the cooler features you get with the watch, because if you lose your phone, right, you can find it and just pull it up, and it's great. So it's probably one of the best things you got. Now, this is where I get into the downsides or the minuses about this. And just keep in mind, I'm not going to show you the products of the watch. I'm not going to show you anything because there's so many reviews of this saying, hey, you can do this, you can do that. I'm just going to give you the practical uses as to why I like this watch and why I don't like this watch. And this should be more than enough for you to say, okay, I want this watch or I don't want this watch. One of the negatives I think about this watch that honestly is kind of great but not great is if you hold the top button for a little bit and you push it twice, you get a light from it, which is kind of cool. So it's definitely like another positive with the light and stuff, but the only downside to that is the battery life. It really starts to go away with that light being on there. The battery life, I will say, is a very positive. It lasts for 20 days, however it's long, which is great. There's really nothing wrong with that. But with the uses of the watch, with like whatever you're doing, so say you're in a workout or say you're in a flight and you leave it on, like I accidentally left it on for almost like 8-9 hours, my battery life got sucked almost like 20%. So I lost like 2 or 3 days of charge. Again, for this watch, not a big deal because you can just leave it on the charger for like 5-10 minutes and you'll get it back and you'll be fine for another like 4 days. But that's the thing with this watch, is it's only good for a charge if you're in that app for say 12, 24 hours. It sucks the life when you just leave it in there accidentally. And it's not going to be oh yeah, if I leave it on there, it's going to die. No, it'll be on there for a while, even if you left it on for a little bit. But you just got to be careful. If something's activated, you just got to deactivate it and remember, hey, I got to push the button to stop the activity, because that's when it changes the modes. That's the first thing, is the battery life. The second thing is the practicality of it. That's honestly where my negative is at. Is the practicality of this watch. Unless you're flying as a full-time job and you're a pilot that just wants another tool, another avionic in the airplane, those are the only two people that really need this watch. For the price that you're going to get this thing at, there's really no other reason why you should. And for me specifically with this watch, I just did not like how the fact that this thing itself is a standalone unit. I'll just kind of show you my smartphone. I can pull it up and it's got the time. I can look and check the weather. I can open apps. I can download Spotify and music and play that on there. This I can open up. I can check the weather. I can scroll down. I can open Spotify, do that, listen to music, as well as I can program it for my avionics on my GPS. You know what I mean? This in itself could replace your phone. Obviously it can't, because you can't fully text and call people from this, but that's essentially what this is saying. And that's where I'm kind of on the negative with it, is it's not really a smartwatch. It's really just its own unit. You're not paying for a watch that's like an Apple Watch, where you can text or you can call or you can just answer your phone from this watch. You can't do that with this one. The only thing you can do is get the notifications and then use it as a GPS. That's really the only smart capabilities it has with the watch itself. And you have to bridge that with the app. So the Garmin Connect app is great. They have a lot of good features on there for this watch specifically. But the thing that sucks is it just goes back to the same thing. It's a standalone unit. It's not going to integrate with your phone because it integrates with the GPS on here, right? You're not paying for a smartwatch at this point. You're paying for a GPS, and you're paying for a backup avionic in your airplane at this price. So that's really kind of the biggest negative I have with this. And again, if you're a full-time pilot, or you're someone who just loves aviation, just wants to be part of it and doesn't care about smartwatch capabilities, by all means, this watch is perfect for you. But if you want something that can integrate with your phone or other devices, and then also use it as an avionic, this is not it. This doesn't give you half the commands that your Apple Watch lets you do. You can't even control music from the Apple Watch, or from this watch, on your phone. You have to specifically download it on here on the Spotify app and control it using that, and connect Bluetooth on your headphones via this. So essentially, if you had headphones hooked up to your iPhone, that'd be fine, and you can control it from there. And then obviously if you had an Apple Watch, I had an Apple Watch a long time ago, you could literally just, boom, skip a song. Not the case on this one. You can't even integrate it with your phone. You have to integrate the headphones into the watch and then download whatever music you want onto here. So essentially, this does not have a cellular plan. So when I talk about a standalone unit, I'm talking about a cell phone without a cell plan is really what this is. And it's not a bad thing. I mean, it's a great tool. You have a lot of GPS capabilities, and it's a great survival tool if you end up having this. But it's not a smartwatch in terms of just being able to control music, being able to call people on it, use voice commands, and overall just kind of understand that it's not going to integrate with your phone. It's its own little thing. And then the third thing is just the size. I can just grab it and I'll put it on my wrist and just kind of show you how bulky it is. This is my wrist right now with just my normal one. Not really any bad. I'll switch over. And this is the wrist with my normal hand. So I'm going to just use that as an example. You can look and you can see. This one sticks up probably about a good 2 to 3 inches on my wrist, right? Not a bad thing when you look at it from this angle, but now let's put my sleeves on. So if I roll my sleeves, you can essentially tell which one has the watch and which one doesn't just by looking at it, right? You can clearly see there's a face there. This one has the watch because of how bulky it is on my wrist, and this one doesn't because there's nothing on my wrist. If you're going to get this watch, you got to understand that this thing is like a paperweight. It's something that is going to just literally own that part of your hand on the wrist, And you're gonna feel it too if you're, say, just forgetting about things and like you move your arm around and stuff. This watch will shake with you. And it's one of those things that if you don't want a bulky watch, this is not it for you. It goes back to the negative of you're paying for a GPS at this point. You're not paying for a watch. So what ends up happening is you're essentially just, you have a paperweight on your hand that can tell you anything and everything about where you are, but it can't connect to your phone and let you use Siri or like call your mom or your dad or your girlfriend. And that's really what this is all about, is it just goes down to like what your purpose is with this watch. And with it being a aviation centered watch, it's exactly why you want it, is because you are literally focused on GA, or you're an airline pilot, or you're a CFI, or you're someone that works in like, commercial aviation, and you want something that you can just look at without having to look at your phone. What you're paying for. A few final thoughts before I go on this watch is the button functionality of it is not terrible. There's 5 buttons, but I get confused by every single time I have to press one. Like I always forget which one it is. And it kind of just goes back to like if you've ever seen Spy Kids and you saw like how Gertie had the watch where she could like do a bunch of stuff and like it popped out and everything and see all that stuff. That's what this is. This is a Spy Kids watch with a bunch of tools that you thought would never exist on here, but they are. And half the features, honestly, I've probably never even used because I really wanted to explore this watch. There's just too much on here that you just never know is on there until you're like, oh, it's on there. And that's what you're paying for with this watch. You're paying for a watch full of features. But again, it's an aviation GPS watch. Only thing too that sucks about this watch is you really don't have many options for watch faces. You have to pay essentially like a fee to buy a new watch face for this. And what sucks about that is the fee for these is no like $1, $2 thing. I've seen faces on the Garmin Connect app as much as like $20 or even $10. And it's like when you pay for those too, half the time you don't even get the basic displays of like the weather and the clouds and like which airport you're at. So really it's like what you get is probably what you're gonna get. Unless you want to pay for more and make it more expensive, that's on you. But you're really, again, it's its own little unit. It's not necessarily something that you are going to get and be like, oh, I can integrate with my phone. You have two smartphones at that point. This is a smartwatch. And then this is a smartwatch. As well as this is a smartphone, and this is a smartphone. My final thoughts on these is that if you're going to get this watch for the price that it's at, you got to understand this fact, and that's both of these are the same, right? The difference is this one's got a cell plan and this one does not. And if you're okay with this one not having a cell plan, but just a GPS for aviation related stuff and as an avionic that's on your hand, by all means, pay the price and get the watch. It's amazing. But if you're looking for a smartwatch that you can like integrate with this guy and it makes more sense, but still has the capabilities, that's where you want to go down to the Air X10. And that one will definitely be a lot better for you. I'll make another review on that in a little bit when I actually start using that one too. And it's just gonna be one of those things where it's like, you have to understand that this whole thing is its own unit and this whole thing is its own unit. Both of these don't communicate because both of them are separated. This one, though, doubles as an avionic in the airplane, and this one doubles as something that you can talk to people on. But both of these can't be integrated together. They're both separated. And for the price that they're at, it makes sense why Garmin did that, because you're not paying for a smartwatch anymore. You're paying for an actual unit of its own size and its own make and its own tools. So that's ultimately where my thoughts are at with this. And I would say that if you're looking for something like that, then absolutely spend the money. It's a worth it watch. It's something that you'll definitely not regret purchasing, and it's something that you will absolutely love and will continue to wear forever. But if you're looking for something that integrates with your phone or integrates with something else, I would not choose this watch, because this thing is its own little unit and it does its own little thing. It gives you all the Garmin features that you want for fitness. It gives you all the tracking and it gives you all the information that you need, especially with sleep and stress. But it does it on its own little stuff, separate from your smartphone, right? It's not like Apple where you can just integrate everything into it. It's Apple's stuff or your stuff, and then it's the smartwatch's stuff. And you have to understand that fact going into this watch, because again, the price makes it separated from everything else you've ever owned as far as a watch goes. So if you can understand that fact and you're okay with that, by all means, amazing watch. But if you want something you can integrate with your other devices, I don't recommend it because it's not worth for that price if you want a standalone unit. Thank you so much for coming and watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the review of the D2 Mach 1 Pro. I loved it. It was an amazing watch that I got to use, and I hope you too, if you do buy this watch, will enjoy it just as much as I did. Again, it's its own unit, so you kind of just have to get used to that with the way you integrate it and how you do things. But it's an amazing watch nonetheless, and if you do get your hands on it, it's a pretty cool tool. So thank you so much for coming and watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked the video, make sure you go down below, hit the subscribe button. If you want to see where else I post content and stuff too, my Instagram is linked down below as well, so you can see that. And then finally too, I've talked about in the last video, I have a website you can go down below and check out. I'm doing online ground school for specific topics. If you need any help with your flight training or your ground training, let me know. Fill out the form down below. Would love to help you out with that. And yeah, with that being said, thanks for coming and watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.